Well, joining me right now is Puan Noor Aini Sheikh Awab, CEO of Leong Islamic Asset Management, Sunan Berhad. Today she speaks to us about taking Islamic asset management to the next level. Hi Puan, thanks for joining me. Today, of course, Leong Bank is at the forefront in terms of Islamic asset management as well. As we've seen, it's been a stellar year for you and the team. Perhaps we could start by you telling us a little bit more about the company.
Okay, good afternoon, Jessie, and thank you for inviting us to this session. Leong Islamic Asset Management is a licensed Islamic fund manager issued by the Securities Commission, and we offer Islamic investment solution tailored specifically for corporates and also sophisticated investor. It's more of a wholesale fund kind of investment services. And we also been appointed as the external fund manager for our parent company Islamic Funds, which is Leong Islamic Asset Management Berhad.
Well, Puan, of course, that is, a tall portfolio to keep up to. It's a very important job. And as we know, you have 3 other decades of experience in regional and global securities settlements. You joined Leong Asset Management as the Chief Operating Officer just 7 years ago, back in 2014. And now you are the Chief Executive Officer of Leong Islamic Asset Management. Of course, an exciting journey, I'm sure, so far. The ups and downs with that as well. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about your journey towards becoming the CEO of Leong Islamic Asset Management.
Okay. When I joined Leong, I think as the COO of Leong Asset Management, my task is to look at the overhaul of the operations in the company and be ready and prepared for the growth of the business in respect to in respect to ensuring that our operations and are ready to support the business growth in local and also global market. And I think this is very timely in sense that with the pandemic of COVID-19 that we are facing now, the resilience of the company in providing services continues from the point of COVID pandemic in 2019 and 2020 until today. And I think that is very important for us. With regards to the rising capabilities of the young ones and the young talents that we have, we took that opportunity to look into Islamic asset management 2 years later, and because the potential of the Islamic asset management services in Malaysia to the investor that are currently investing for Sharia funds. Now, how we look at it is when we decided to apply for Islamic license is the strong support from the regulators and the government in terms to grow the Islamic capital market. And like I say, the pool of young talents and professional in Malaysia on Sharia investment management and Islamic banking is very, very huge, and to us is tapping on the potential is an opportunity for Islamic asset management company like us.
That's right, Puan. I know from some of course, the news updates that we have seen online, especially for news that churned up very quickly. We know that Islamic banking has remained resilient, not just here in Malaysia, but in other countries as well. As you mentioned, for business growth locally and internationally, what are some of your plans ahead for Leong Islamic Asset Management in terms of growing that sector or market?
Okay, for us, is the vision for Islamic asset management is to be one of the respectable Sharia asset management in wealth accumulation services for all our investors. And we run based on the principle of Afala, and this is where we take pride in ensuring that any investment we decide for investors are meant for now and hereafter. And when we meant for hereafter is where the Securities Commission has recently introduced the Wakaf fund for us to allow investors to contribute and be a part of the CSR in providing financial services to those who need by the Wakaf element. And we also look from the perspective of ensuring continuity of business with the supply of pool of young talents that we have now. We also recruit young talent to be groomed and to take over positions that we know in years to come, where Sharia and Islamic market will be a very high volume in terms of the requirement by investor, and taking into consideration that Sharia being a product of ESG and CSR, which is very much focused now in the industry.
That's right, Pon. Of course,
And to us,
what you're saying is that there is a bright future in this particular banking sector as well. I'd like to dial back a little. How do we fare in terms of the understanding of Islamic investments, as compared to other countries, especially within our region?
Okay, basically, I think from the perspective of regulators, you have Bank Negara and you also have the Securities Commission, Bursa, and many others, the Federation supporting the business of capital market and Islamic banking. I think Malaysia is a leader in this global, should be a leader in the global market, and it has been proven. I think there have been many times that we have been number one in terms of our sukuk arrangement, and widely invested by global markets and all that. And to me, is with digitalization that is going on very robust in our industry, it can be a borderless market for fund managers like us in the Sharia industry, and we can be even as competitive in Asia to provide such services and such investment. There are high potential in terms of our listed Sharia companies that is listed in Bursa, and opportunities in the sukuk market is also very high. And to us is the potential of fund management companies in dealing with Sharia asset management. The SC has been working very religiously with us, and new products are being introduced into the market, not only for local but also the global aspect of it.
Aini, you've brought up some really crucial points there as well, and that's quite reflective of the strategies that of the bank will be, and is applying. Now, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about the company's services and the award won by a fund that Hong Leong Islamic Asset Management manages.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, this award is given by Refinitiv Lipa Fund Award, which is given on an annual basis, and this is a very high, high respected award given to any fund manager based on their excellence and providing consistent risk-adjusted performance relative to their peers. And the merit of this award, the objective is for the quantitative criteria, the independent insight on global collective investment, being the unit trust trusted by investment professionals. And when we mean investment professional, it's not only here in Malaysia but also in the global market. Now, despite the challenging market in 2020, we have actually won 5 awards for Hong Leong Dana Makmur, where we have been appointed as the external fund manager by Hong Leong Asset Management. Out of the 5 awards, 2 are from the global Islamic market, where we won Equity Malaysia Global Islamic for 3 years and 5 years. And this is our repetitive award, which we have also won in 2019. We also won 3 awards for Malaysia Universe. This is the Equity Malaysia Market Islamic for 3 years and 5 years. And again, this is a repetitive award which we also won in 2019. And for Equity Malaysia Provident Award for 3 years, we won in 2020. So in general, for 2020, even though we are facing the pandemic of COVID-19, but we are quite resilient in our, in our providing the services and looking at the underlying investment for Hong Leong Dana Makmur. And we are honored that, Refinitiv Lipa have recognized Leong Dana Makmur to be competitive not only in the local market but also in the global market.
But Aini, of course, as we struggle through this crisis, it's not easy for the banking industry or sector either. Of course, this also becomes such a big milestone in terms of how the economy performs on the back of the support from banks it can receive, and so on and so forth. And so in this time, what will it take to alleviate the business arm to the next level, particularly as we're still battling this pandemic, both for your departments, for the Islamic Asset, and also for Hong Leong Bank?
I think basically for the current situation, I think I'm happy to say that something that we foresee will only be coming in the next 2 or 3 years. It has happened now, and that is utilization of the operations of business for asset management and in the capital market. I'm happy to say that even the stock market, Bursa, have been very resilient in providing good numbers and good return on any investment in the local market. Apart from that, I think, for example, for asset management, we are now looking at not only investing in Malaysia, we're also looking for opportunity for global Sharia investment. And if you can see, that has been, there have been many launches of global fund in the industry, taking into consideration diversification of investment. For me, I think from the regulator perspective, I think Bank Negara has been very supportive to the banking industry, with, like you just mentioned, about the moratorium and the loan flexibility in helping the SME and individuals. If I may quote a recent survey from S&P, where they said that the loan growth is projected to be 6%. However, they are looking at Islamic banking could be easily double the loan growth to 10 to 12% or even higher. In that aspect, I think this is driven by a lot of household credit, mortgages, and higher purchase. So, and personal loan and credit card. However, like we are aware, we have to put food on the table. And I think from the perspective of the banks and from Bank Negara and even from Securities Commission, these are areas from financial industry that they are looking to manage the wealth management of investor, not only for today but also for tomorrow. And that is where, in asset management from Sharia perspective, we feel that the Sharia Islamic asset management product could be more resilient in some sense. And it has also been encouraging to see that more of Sharia listed company are being brought into Bursa, for us to consider. And I think from the aspect of sustainability and CSR, I think Bursa and also Securities Commission, together with Bank Negara, have put a lot on emphasis to have companies to be sustainable, even with the pandemic of COVID moving post-COVID-19.
Well, Aini, we're always looking for and glad to speak to experts like yourself, particularly now when we look at these numbers, some of the stats that you read, and we try to crunch that. Is the future bleak? Is it doom and gloom? Or, as you have mentioned in some forecasts as well, there is opportunity for market growth furthermore in the next few months as well. But what would your advice be to those interested in trying to manage their portfolios better, for businesses that need to sustain themselves and so on?
Okay, as you mentioned earlier, I've been in this industry for 3 decades. I've seen the Black October. I've seen the financial crisis. We have seen SARS coming into place, and now COVID-19. And to me is, there's always this cycle where investment will be flattened a little bit. However, the peak will come up, and for me, with the current situation and initiative taken by globally by many governments, even from the Ministry of Health and all that, we will overcome this COVID-19 pandemic, and we should now be be glad to see that a lot of this vaccination program are moving very rampant, more so in Malaysia, and most countries are already getting ready for post COVID-19. My advice to investor is investment is a long-term wealth management planning. It's not something that you invest today for a result of tomorrow. You invest in especially in Sharia asset management. Investment is always where you invest today for your future in the next 2 or 3 years. It's not only for us, it's also for our children, and it's also for the survival of the nation. My advice to any young investor or anyone who wants to start investing is that do a thorough check on the fund and get your professional advisor to give you the right direction.
That's right, and it couldn't be a better place than to start with the Hong Leong Bank. Thank you very much upon Aini for weighing in, and of course giving us some of your time to speak about such an important topic. Of course, as we go through the crisis, there are ways to look up, and if you are an investor or looking to grow or maintain your portfolio, then Hong Leong Bank is your stop.